Despite my awful mic and everything else, I wanted to go ahead and get this across that I keep on trying to go and play this game. Every single time I play this game, it's kind of like, do I want to really load this up? Don't get me wrong, I enjoy playing this game as much as the next guy, but honestly, can we keep this up? Can the survivors keep on surviving the way that they want to? Are the survivors really overpowered, as many people as are really saying? In my opinion, not really. It's kind of depressing to go ahead and see all these nerfs towards the survivors because the killers keep on thinking that the survivors are overpowered. Probably because they never really played the perspective of the survivor and they really just been playing as a killer the whole time. Playing as a survivor is really difficult considering the fact that every single time that I get into a match, or anybody else that I know end up getting into this match, they want to go ahead and try to get the generators popping off as fast as possible. So it makes it where people seem like they can go and just take control of finding one survivor and hooking them and just face camping them the whole time. And this is what really turns most of us, survivors into toxic assholes, is because of people like this. They can sit here and keep on acting like they're actually being justified for what they're doing, but by the end of the day, my survivors are going to keep on surviving no matter what they do. I will always be that one guy that pops in that you don't expect to come and save your life. I will always be that survivor. I will always be that savior. And that is always what this wolf will always keep on going for. It doesn't just matter if I, actually end up losing the match. Yeah, I do get aggravated because there's some moments when I save people, they end up they intentionally come up and they end up ignoring or even not trying to save me back. Especially this person inside of this video, they ended up going and cleansing a totem that was right beside the killer, even though the killer was just going to face camp me the whole time. So honestly, do you really blame that we actually sit here and become toxic survivors? I don't blame it myself. Yes, I've played the killer perspective and the survivor perspective. I am rank 12, I guess you could say, with both of them. I'm kind of like 13 with the killer, and then I'm also 11 with the survivor. So I'm kind of like mixing it up both between. But I do play in the higher ranks with my friend that is actually a rank 1 survivor on PS4. And I don't really get into PC because of the fact that, well, again, like most people say, it costs a lot. But if I did, it'd probably have a better community than PS4. It might not. But by the end of the day, people are going to keep on being very, I guess you could say, biased. Because they really want to play the survivor. People are really biased against the killers, saying the killer's overpowered. The killers that only play the killers are biased because they sit there and just say that the killers are not overpowered, it's the survivors that are overpowered. But by the end of the day, it really depends on what you're doing inside of the game. I am not personally a toxic player. I do try to go and do 360s because it's a kind of like I can't escape the killer. The killer is literally faster than the survivor in every single way. So therefore, you're really not having any choice but to either try to juke or dodge the killer themselves. Yes, I did put myself in the predicament that I am in inside this video, but that doesn't give anybody the reason to face camp. Especially in this situation where honestly, I could have ended up surviving if I would have left that person to die, but I thought it was really unfair towards the fact that that killer was sitting there just face camping this person, and it makes me kind of aggravated at the fact that, people consider this good. People consider all fucking things are thrown out the window every single time you end up going and actually sitting there and, you gen rush to the killer. There are literally perks that sit there and actually prevent you from doing so. And it's kind of like, if you really don't like the fact that you're getting gen rushed, and you put that perk on, and it's, you gotta learn from the way that you've played killer or the way that you played survivor how to outmatch the opposite. Pretty much, it's very easy, and even if you're a main survivor, you could end up dumping some of those survivor points into the killers, because not every survivor has useful perks that you end up going and wanting. You end up just easily trashing everything else and just working on the main survivors, and then come back and actually level up the one you want and get to prestige 3 that you want to get to prestige 3 with. You can go on and do whatever you want to pretty much with survivors. Same thing with killer. The killer can end up prestiging, the killer can end up getting all these perks from the other killers and putting it on that person that you want to actually get into prestige. Am I actually prestige with any of my characters? No. I kind of quit early on in the Dead by Daylight series because I did realize how strong the killers actually were, and I did play both. Don't get me wrong, but by the end of the day, the killers are always complaining about the survivors being overpowered, and the people that aren't playing toxic, using the pallets as much as the other person, ends up getting punished for it because of the fact that it's just a completely dumb, and you can't do nothing about it as a survivor, because the killer literally is more cancerous and more strong than the survivor. You may say, oh, you know, the pallets are what, you know, you could pallet loop and keep on running around in circles as a survivor. Yeah, that is true. But look at how fast the killer has become, especially with Bloodlust. They are basically going to catch you in a matter of seconds. What do you expect us to fucking do? Run in a straight line for you so you can hold R2 and end up going and swinging at us? I've literally had to sit here and, you know, in this match, I wanted to save so many people. I wanted to save that person that was going to get on the hook. But again, the killer was face camping. And there's nothing that, you know, any of us other survivors can really do about it. And it's kind of aggravating. For example, actually, I met this person. They were really toxic with the killer. I pointed out to them that there are a lot of perks that prevent you from, you know, pretty much prevents anybody from gen rushing. But it's not like they care. They're too ignorant to understand that killers aren't as underpowered as they think they are. And a lot of people keep on complaining and complaining. And yeah, I do watch a lot of PC gameplay, and I do see a lot of PC players doing something differently than the console. And I do see a lot of things. But by the end of the day, I literally had a Leatherface camp me inside of a dungeon that had the perk for where he could just stand there and be literally silent, no heartbeat for you know, as soon as you stand there for more than 4 seconds. And that's the kind of type of stuff I was talking about. Like, I tried to go ahead and get that saved as a video, but they would not allow me to save it for some reason, and it was kind of depressing not being able to save that so I could show it off inside of this clip. But I really do hope things start to look up for the survivors. Honestly, we can keep on surviving, but by the end of the day, if you're really going to complain about us being toxic, learn how not to tunnel. Oh wait, 90% of the people of you that play killers do tunnel. The 90% of you players that end up playing killer do use Hex Rune, which allows us not to, you know, actually get rushed. 90% of you killers are running barbecue and chili because you need to actually know where every other survivor is on the map, because, you know, pretty much that's just what you're gonna do. So why are you complaining about the survivor doing what they're doing? Sorry. But, you know, that's pretty much all I got to say about this situation. You know, killers always gonna think survivors are overpowered. Survivors are always gonna be, you know, sitting there thinking that, you know, killers are overpowered. But in my opinion, right now where it is, it's a little more balanced. But people are still going to be toxic either way on the killer or the survivors. So if the devs actually cared about this game, they need to stop nerfing the survivors as hard as they are possibly doing right now, because it is really not changing the game much. It's just pissing off more of the survivors to go into killer, and then they're even more toxic with the killer, and then you're going to be pissed off and sitting here saying, oh, the killer is overpowered, because people are using the most broken crutch fucking perks that they have in the game, and you're getting mad at it because of it. Do I use crutch perks? Sometimes. But, you know, like you see on my Meg right now, I don't have sprint burst. I don't have any of the exhaustion perks because they have been nerfed to the ground. Yeah, some people might say, you know, oh, I didn't use them to begin with, so they're not as bad. But, you know, I didn't use them to begin with, but even then, when I started using it, I see why people used it to outrun the killers, because that's all they could possibly do to try to get away from the killer. You know, and it's kind of like, if you're really wanting us to sit here and try to survive, if you really want us to not use exhaustion perks, then nerf the killer speed. But you're not going to do that because, you know, again, people keep on complaining how the killer is underpowered. No, they're fucking not. And again, the slowest killer is the nurse, but she has her teleport, which is a lot of painful trouble that we have to deal with. There's also the whole Franklin's demise, where, you know, and for some reason, by the way, my controller bugged or something, I don't know. I climbed over that even though we all know what I wanted. I wanted to not sit there and climb, I wanted to heal. That's another thing about console, is that you can't sit there and heal by pallets, you know. You can heal by pallets on PC, but you can't do it on console. But I've already rambled on for too much and for too long. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you agree with anything I said or disagree, you know what? I really don't care. You can leave your little comment inside of the bottom right here for all I care, honestly. But by the end of the day, you're always going to be biased upon your own decision. And you're going to sit here and be like, oh, this one's overpowered or that one's overpowered. But in my opinion, survivors are actually a little bit more underpowered than what they were. and the killer is still strong as much as I did believe so from the beginning, because of the effect of all the runes and all the perks that they have are a lot more consistent and better off for the killer. Same thing with survivor, except the exhaustion has been nerfed. But that'll be all, guys. Hit that like button if you just like the video in general. If you don't, you know, that's you. Honestly, this was just pretty much something to get off my chest as playing as a survivor. And another thing about, you know, another note real quick before I do go. A note off to the other survivors. Don't go saving everybody, because again, I've learned it from my last match that you've seen in the video, that when you save people you get screwed over. But again, I'm the type of person that'll go save a person no matter what the circumstances are. So, you know, I got screwed in the end. I'm the one who had decided to go after that person. I'm the one who got knocked down and didn't get to go and run away or use my decisive strike. But also, don't go saving a person if you know the killer's after you, period. And if you go to save a person and the killer spots you, don't pick them up until after you got hit, because that'll allow you to actually go and, again, I kind of screwed up. I didn't know where to run off to. But don't go and pull them off, or try to pull them off the hook while the killer's coming at you. Sometimes that won't work unless you got borrowed time. But even then, if you end up getting pulled off of them, what are they going to do? Well, that's pretty much, again, like all I said. I could have rambled on for about 11 minutes. That's insane. Oh, 12. But I hope you guys enjoy Dead by Daylight for what it is. Personally, I probably will be dropping the game soon until they decide how to balance the game better, because by the end of the day, you know, they're going to keep on nerfing the survivors to the ground, and that's all that's going to be happening and is going to see. Well, talk to you later. Dark Wolf out. Peace.